Then again I saw after some time people came with very huge loaded machine gun with chains and everything. And they're shouting, you open the gate and get them outside. The gate is not going to be open. He said, open the gate. And no, negative, no gate will be open. Okay, we'll see to this. I'm also here, sitting here only to see you guys. You try some stunt and then you see the music. I landed up at the Srinagar and I saw Indian Army and dogs are not allowed. Is that statement acceptable to you? Imagine being in army and being in uniform and you read something like this written on the wall. Weapon, equipment, communication profile, whatever it may be. But the biggest brand and the best brand in the entire world is Indian Army. I'm damn clear on this. We are the only force, history has been testimony, our soldiers are the only potent and the capable soldiers who can actually fight a battle and are just surviving on water, jaggery and muthi bhar chana.
There's very few things in my professional life that I'm proud of. And being a portal for military stories like this is one of them. TRS has always aimed to bring you the kind of content that you will not be able to see on OTT platforms, that you'll not be able to see through movies. There's some kind of content which you'll only understand through extremely deep perspectives and extremely well-told stories. We've spoken a lot about the special forces on TRS. Special forces represent the highest amount of efficiency within the military. Most people know about the Para-SF, which is the special forces of the army, the Marcos, which are the special forces of the Navy, the Garuda, which is the special forces of the Air Force. But there are other special forces as well. Colonel Rajeev Bharwan represents the airborne forces. What the airborne forces are, his extremely detailed perspectives on the things he's seen during his military tenure. He served outside India as well. He served in Africa in its peak of turmoil. This podcast was so heavy for me that on the night of this particular conversation, I actually just cried myself. There's nothing going wrong in my life. There's no trauma that I'm undergoing, but this particular piece was extremely heavy even for me. I will let you slip into this particular episode because it's very close to my heart. I hope you enjoy it. Make sure you follow us on Spotify as well. We're Spotify exclusive. Every episode's available on Spotify 48 hours before it's available anywhere else in the world. This podcast was so heavy that I had to cancel my military podcast that I had in the following week just because I needed some recovery time. I hope you enjoy this episode as much as I enjoyed creating it. And Rajeev sir, if you're watching this, it's only love for you. Thank you for opening up the way you did. Jai Hind. Enjoy the episode. Colonel Rajeev Bharwan, sir, welcome to a very, very special military-themed episode of The Ranveer Show. Honor having you here, sir.
Thanks, Ranveer. Believe me, happiness is all mine. Thanks.
You know, there's a key word I use for certain podcasts, and the key word here is unpacking. Because I feel military personnel have just so much to share, so many experiences. And, I think when someone dies, when they look back at their life, it's all these experiences that are going to flash in their eyes and not necessarily what they achieved or didn't achieve according to societal standards of achievement. True. There's so many things on your LinkedIn, on your Instagram. If, say, I met you in Sweden and I was a Firank and I asked you what you do for a living, what would you say?
I would have said a couple of months back, I used to kill people for my living and these days I'm on a break. That would have been my answer, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I asked you to expand on that, what would you say?
Expand, see, in military, especially the kind of the job, people in the special forces or when you have been in combat operations, if I talk about a couple of months back or most of my service, I have been into counter-insurgency operation or counter terrorism operations. I have been into Assam, Manipur, Nagaland, Jan-K2 tenures. And most of the time, whether it was the unit or with the deputation, I've been involved in action only and that suits me. This is something which I always felt I'm best when it comes to combats. The second best thing that I feel I'm good at is training. Rest, thereafter, everything is secondary for me. So being in that line of duty, and most of the time, and preference, by choice, and by default or design, you say, I've been posted into these areas where I've involved into these kind of actions. And it gives you a tremendous amount of satisfaction because, mentally and physically, you are always at your threshold.
What do you mean?
You are into those combat situations where a snap decision in a couple of seconds, it can cost you your life. It is a question of life and death, especially for someone who is with you in the team. So it matters a lot. So जिम्मेदारी बहुत ज़्यादा होती है, and there is a lot of responsibility on your head. You always have to lead from the front. And there are a couple of people, you ensure that the number of the troops, those who go in the operation with you, the same number comes back. That threat is always lingering on your head.
I mean, it's a very kind of raw question for you.
Yeah.
Feel free not to give an exact number, but
Yeah.
are you comfortable giving sort of a number on how many combat situations you've been in? Like above a certain number?
Okay. Maybe more than 100.
More than 100?
Definitely 100. And I just tell you, although you not asked for it, but specific, I've been most of the time, and maximum operation that we have undertaken was in FIVO. FIVO is fighting in built-up areas.
What does that mean?
Built-up areas, it's something like Mumbai, tall buildings. It is not structured and organized, where a lot of people are staying and you carry out operations. Manipur is one example in that. J&K is another. So fighting in built-up area in military terminology is one of the most difficult operations one can undertake.
Why is it difficult?
It is difficult because there is no certain pattern. Every house that you enter, it has got a different layout. As per the social strata, your personal choices and preferences. It is very difficult. If it is a multi-story building, the kind of the operation you undertake is very difficult. The number of the rooms are there, it is very difficult. What kind of background the individual has. Some poor family is staying in a jhuggi jhopri, one is staying in a mediocre kind of a setup, somebody is staying in high strata. Every house has got a different design, different layout, different makeup. Demography is different. Very, very difficult to conduct in fighting and built-up operations.
Which year did you begin, your combat experience, like this whole combat journey? Like, when has it started?
I started having first-hand experience in 99, the year I joined my unit. The unit that time was in Kupwara. So that time, it was an amazing team of my seniors, the great, wonderful CO, Tiger General Ravi Todge. So that was the year I got a hang of it in Kupwara. And thereafter, the raw of it, what I saw was in Manipur. That was my first posting when I went to apna deputation to Assam Rifles. That was amazing. Every day, 2 to 3 opportunities were there. Back to back, we used to have follow-up operations.
Why don't we talk about that a little bit? So if you could give the listeners some kind of context on the situation in Manipur at that point in time.
Okay.
Like what was actually happening there and why were you all required to carry out operations?
Okay. Those days, the situation as a youngster, when I look back, when I see, the situation was something when I landed up in Assam Rifle, I remember correctly, I was told by Colonel MS, it is a kind of appointment who deals with your posting in those areas. So I was told that I am the youngest officer posted in the Assam Rifle those days.
How old were you?
I was just with 3 years of service and I was about 24 and a half, 25. So when I landed up there, I was told when I interacted with the civilian, they asked me, are you from India? So there was actually setback. I think I'm in India. He said, no sir, आप India से आया, हम मणिपुर का आया. What does it mean? You don't consider yourself to be part of the India? So situation was that bad. Believe you me, I'm telling you, there was not even a single book. There was not even a single newspaper. There was no movie in Hindi. It was absolutely banned. It was a kind of a parallel government which was running there. That was the kind of the hold the groups had.
What had caused that level of animosity? Was it like kind of feeling rejected from the Indian government?
No, maybe not from the government. I would say firstly the lack of awareness.
Okay.
Exploitation is damn very easy, and when people are not aware, and as such, life in mountains is very difficult. People have their own vested interest, by anti-social elements, whether it is anyone who has got political interest or the groups, those who have been working there, anti-national elements. It is very easy to exploit the guy who is not aware of what is right and what is wrong.
And the motivation at the top is almost always power or money.
Power
money.
corrupts and it corrupts absolutely. So I realized people don't even consider themselves as a part of the India. It was a shock as a youngster. I never was aware of this brutal truth until unless I went on ground. And then I realized the young people, most of them, they just wanted to pick up a weapon and have a feel of it. Yes, I'm powerful in this area. I have got power with me. So as a youngster, you're dealing with a youngster. He also have got a weapon. I also as a youngster has got a weapon. So it's very difficult. Two people of the same age group. One has been trained by the military, and second, and is totally disoriented. He doesn't know. He just have a weapon, and he want to have that raw sense of power. Yes, I am powerful. And it is very difficult sometimes when you face a situation like this.
The question I wish to ask you at this point is the first kind of dangerous combat experience where you felt like, oh, okay, my life is in danger here.
Okay. Only once in Northeast, if you ask me, the initial combat days. We entered into some house. It was again fighting in built-up area. So we were aware that there were people. The input said ki whether they are in possession of weapon or not, we are not aware. Fine. So we had assumed all kind of contingencies, but we had never thought ki it can happen this way also. Ki the moment you open the door and you will find someone and a pointing weapon at your head. Now this was something which we had never assumed, but it happened. Murphy's Law. It had to happen.
Because of the lack of weapons in the Northeast generally.
No. Because the guy was in a very tight situation and his neck was in the noose. There were no outlet to go out of the house.
Okay.
So he thought there is only one option. The moment I take a first shot, the moment you take them by surprise. I think probably that was the mindset. You just enter it and you take it by surprise. So we had never thought in wildest of dreams that the moment we, generally the tendency is you open the door and you throw some grenade and wait for some momentary reaction. But no. The moment we kicked the door and opened it, the guy was bloody standing with his weapon in his head and he just put it on the head. And when you face situation and you go black, I went black at least that time for a moment. And maybe luck was in my this thing and he pressed the trigger, nothing worked. Maybe the weapon was faulty, or there was some technical snag, but it never worked.
Wow.
But it still took me in a couple of seconds to, muster my senses. It happens. Your nerves goes blackout because I never expected it is going to happen. Ki kholte hi, the guy will be in front of you.
What was going on in your head?
Nothing.
Just blank.
It went blank because, I was prepared ki once you enter and I'll go this side or that side, this is what I'm going to do. I was part of the room intervention drill. I was in the leading party. But the moment the guy, he had put the weapon on your head, I went blank. Only for a couple of seconds. And then he also went black. He was also surprised it didn't work. Then he cocked his weapon again. Meanwhile, those seconds were good enough to get back to his senses. And then I had given a solid hit on his blood, on nose and mouth. Then we were able to check on that guy. I was able to catch him.
When you look back at this entire Manipur experience now, and we're just at that part of your tenure at this point of the podcast, when you look back at that entire Manipur experience, what was your one learning from it? Because it was an early part of your army tenure. So what really stayed with you?
Two things stayed with me. One from the military perspective and one from the civilian perspective.
Sure.
In fact, I will tell you three and one from the militant point of view. Three things. Firstly, about the military point of view. I was serving in Assam Rifles. I realized that they are known as Sentinels of the Northeast, an amazing force. You go to one company, you will find people, it is a mini India, you are commanding as a company commander. People speak multiple languages. People from north, east, west, south. You name a state and the guy you will find within the company. So this is one potent force I realized which can operate with great smoothness in any part of the country. Any language interpreter, it is at disposal. And still the beauty was they all used to speak Gorkhali, Nepalese. 100% of them, whether it was a Sikh, whether it was a Khalsa or a Tambi, they spoke fluent Nepalese. They had same eating habit. This was something amazing. And experience. There is no substitute for experience. In Assam Rifle, even a Jawan, he serves till the age of 60. There's no other force where people serve till that. So guy, imagine a carrying of 40 years of experience. He might not be knowing English. He might be a little poor at the weapon handling, whatever. The age is not on the plus side. But experience is something, they can give you the best advice, one of the most professional advice.
In terms of combat situations?
Yeah, in combat situation. I give you one specific example. There was some input, we had to go to some place. So I asked boys, okay, so what is the route? Who knows map reading? In special forces, infantry, RRU, always open map, when you're going to new area. Assam Rifle, I got over this. I never used map, I never used GPS. Why? Because I had walking encyclopedias with me. All I had to ask them, we have to go to location XYZ. What are the routes? People used to give me multiple options. So 4 routes. One route, we go, but only small vehicles. Traveling time, so much. Potential threat, this much. There have been 2 incidents on this road, year so and so, with specific details, how many casualties, which group, everything. This is the second route, a longer route, it is going to take this much time. Plus minus is this. So third route, no vehicle, only by foot. It is going to take shortest, this much time, and these are the advantages and disadvantages. It was amazing. They knew every corner, bridge. They had every detail, printed on their mind. Because they were static. They used to stay, at they used to stay at one location for many, many years. Subsequently, that rotation thing started. So this is one experience from combat point of view, army. From militants, I realized those groups, those who used to operate, they had a very strong ethical and moral code of conduct. It is amazing. Not even an iota of there is when I compare it to the J&K. I've seen any group guy doing any wrong thing in the public against the code of conduct. There used to be the headline in the newspaper. The individual so-and-so, a cadre of this group had done something wrong. Apologies on behalf of the commander and organization so-and-so. We apologize to the public, to the son and daughters of the Manipur. A code of inquiry has been constituted, headed by Colonel so-and-so, and this is the board composition. And the entire board proceedings, along with the decision taken against the individual, will be published in the newspaper. They had a strong ethical code. They never did anything wrong to the ladies, to the children, to the elderly people. And even a Fauji officer, or Jawan, if he was in any public place with his family, they were your walking insurance policy. Give me one example in the world where people have got this kind of code of conduct. You will not find. I can bet my even pension or commission on this. Any Jawan or officer, any person, whether it is BSF, police or anyone, you will not find one single example in the history when people were with their family and anybody has caused any harm to them. It demands a lot. That is from them. Third example from the public. Again, if you are being nice to the people, I realized you respect age, you respect gender. Children, women and elderly people. Nothing will happen to you. Nothing against the organization. You have to have a very solid reason, to go against that pulse of the environment, to get on the wrong side, so that people go against you. Otherwise, you respect them. I remember I had taken participation in dance. There are local dances people do on various occasions with boys and girls holding their hands as a youngster and doing dance on the road. Thangal Chomba, if I remember correctly, that was the dance festival they used to do. I'd gone to the remotest areas to attend a marriage function in the night without even carrying a weapon. Just only on the gut faith. Maybe I was wrong. People say you were mad. Of course, I'm okay with it. But I'd attended marriages where I'd gone there alone, only with a driver. I knew if somebody had extended an invitation to me, they are my insurance policy. They will insure my safety. And they proved me absolutely correct. That was another lesson. The situation in an area is as good or bad as you are. Highly applicable in Northeast. That is the third thing what I learned from them. So I'll give you 3 examples. One from the cadre point of view, one from the military and one from the civilian.
What would an army veteran like yourself want to say about J&K that the audiences don't know right now? And these are international audiences. And I feel international audiences have a very skewed perspective on the Kashmir situation. But even when it comes to Indian audiences, most of the perspectives are built because of traditional news media, which may not be reporting the truth on ground. You've served there, sir. I feel if there's anyone who should have an opinion, it's the folks who serve there. So where would you even like to begin this conversation?
Ranveer, I'll tell you, first thing to the audience, I would say, it is very easy to have an opinion. Okay? But opinion changes and it changes really damn fast when you're on ground. So one thing people should be very clear about, there is a hell lot of difference between the real life and the real life. Don't go by what media shows you, what a documentary or the movie shows you. Just go as a tourist, spend some days, get to know the location. I'll suggest very good exotic locations to them. You should go there and spend some time and never go alone. Go with your family. Then also the opinion changes. When you're going alone, things are different. When you go with your family, that sense of security, it changes. So don't go with the real life, go into the real life. Even as a tourist, you go, I'm telling you, you'll get a hang of it. Imagine in your own country, you're going to a place, but you see every 10 steps, there is a guy who's standing there to protect you. So that you can have a selfie, you can have a comfortable stay there. So everything seems to be tiki boo. But the moment I take out those guys from there, how many guys are there who are going to volunteer? Okay, I want to go to Srinagar. No, you will not even cross the tunnel. That is the difference. And the people who are staying, I always say, if you want to bring the difference, it is not, no man can play an act alone. Everyone, you require a team. And when I say team, when we call it a country, it is not only the boots on the ground or the man with the gun. It is the common man. It matters a lot. They are one of the most important stakeholders. Now things have changed. Those important sections have been revoked. It had made a lot of difference in the environment, and slowly and slowly things will change for betterment.
You think it's getting cleaned up?
Yeah, as a military person, I am damn sure about it. The moment it has been revoked, it had made our task a hell lot of easier. I've seen a time where actually I'm telling you, this is a fact. I don't know how many people are aware of it. I landed up at the Srinagar and I saw Indian Army and dogs are not allowed. Is that statement acceptable to you? Imagine being in army and being in uniform and you read something like this written on the wall. What state of mind? And I was furious. I thought, pata nahi kya kar dein karke. But what you can do? You don't even know who has written it. And you find it places. There have been instances when I get a call, sir, I'm moving a dead body of a martyr. And the people have blocked the route. Flight is after 1 hour. What do I do? I don't know what to do, what your commanding officer is telling you. I can only tell you, had I been in your place, I would have gone to an extent to ensure that this body reaches home at the time. Things happen thereafter, of course. But this is the environment I've seen, Indian Army and dogs are not allowed. Okay? I've seen Pakistani flag. Okay? Pakistani board. Okay? And you dare not go to places like Lal Chowk. Today you see, there is a Tiranga at Lal Chowk. The perception changes. Those kind of stupid boards are not there. And all those agencies which were actually creating a lot of havoc, they have been nailed in the bud. The environment is getting clean. It takes time, of course, to clean anything. Swasthya Abhiyan hai, jor lagta hai, shuru mein you start from one end, you clean and you start from your home. So I'm sure the start has been good and it is going to go a long way. It might take some time, but what I know, definitely there is a difference and things are going to improve in days to come.
Let's talk a little bit more about combat situations.
Yeah,
because
please, sir.
That's how the podcast began.
Yeah.
And I have many, 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 many more questions.
Please ask many, many, many more questions and I'll be answering all of them one by one.
Talk about a grenade, sir. Like what?
Useless weapon.
You think?
Useless thing. Absolutely,
Why
totally useless.
Why do you feel so?
Again, Murphy's Law. My experience is, you use it 10 times and it'll go, only 1 or twice.
How, raw question again, rookie raw question, how big is a grenade explosion?
Okay, it can be, you can temper with this thing, what kind of explosion you want. For example, you throw a grenade, it will have a certain impact, There are certain fuses in terms of seconds. You want grenade to explode in what fraction of seconds? 3 seconds, 5 seconds, what seconds?
So you set
it. Accordingly, you take out the pen. Yeah. Okay, that is one. Second, it is very sensitive in nature. My experience is you throw it and it never goes off at the time. Okay? And it is not something which you actually very much used in routine. We used to always carry as per the seklai. 2 you carry in this pouches, you carry in this pouches. But very rarely you get a chance to use it actually. And it doesn't go off, then it is a blind. When you need to dispose of later on, you need to dispose it off. Ab usko dispose off karne, you can't leave it blind. It will go and harm some animal or anyone who is passing.
Okay,
so you need to take care of that thing to rule out any possibility. Gotcha. To avoid any unforeseen contingency, you need to dispose it off. So what do? You place some cordex, detonator, and aap lagaoge saath mein, and so that it is blown off. If there is a detonator, cordex, and I do some digging and put it in the ground, the impact will be double. If I tie a knot in the cordex, 2 knots, impact will be even more. So you can change certain things. It is part of your training. But grenade, I don't consider. I'm never been fascinated. I'm sure 100%. You ask any army personnel, they say, sir, this is one weapon, I can do away with it. Not that you're not comfortable. We don't find it very effective.
How big is the explosion? Or how strong is the explosion?
See, for any weapon, there is a template. Template means every weapon has been designed in a manner that it has got a killing zone. There is an effect. It will go only up to a meter or diameter or circumference of this area. Anything. When you are thrown it, so the splinter will go only up to this area and cause a damage. Beyond that area, if you are standing, and it will not reach you also.
So roughly about 2 meters?
It depends in terms of distance. It also depends on the angle. May not even be 2 meters or maybe 3 meters also. There are a lot of factors which comes into play.
But when you are training someone to be in a combat situation with a grenade, what is the training given to that person? Like in what situation are they supposed to use it?
Okay. You can use it when somebody is hiding in a situation, in an open ground, but on the other side of the cliff or something.
Okay.
Where yes, you can throw it and can cause damage. That is one. Second, for the bunker clearance. You are getting like in Kargil and other places you have seen. You know, when somebody is taking a pinpoint shot and causing a heavy damage to the troops, and all you see is a loophole. That is one area you can actually cause damage to the enemy. But I give you today we have got better options. Weapon like AGL, pinpoint precision.
What is that?
AGL is automatic grenade launcher.
Okay.
It has got a tripod, so a lot of stability. Then it has got lot of ammunition is inside a box. You set the target. There are instruments. You set the target, and you can send up to even a distance of many meters, 800 meters, 900 meters. You set that alignment there. It is so damn effective and precise. I tell you, even in a small box of 1 feet by 1 feet, or even lesser than that, it'll go pinpoint shot into that bunker from such a distance.
It's like a grenade gun. Basically.
It's a grenade gun, yeah. You can say in layman language, grenade gun. But it is so very sophisticated, even the mosquito comes in between. After it had traveled that prime distance and it gets primed and it'll go off. But very effective. So why to use grenade when you can use from a large distance?
Is it the same as like a bazooka in some ways?
No, I'll show you the picture. I'll explain it to you what it looks like and how it works.
Is there something like a bazooka or missile launchers that
No. See, okay.
No, I'm not talking
You see this tripod of yours? It is something, it has got a tripod.
Got it.
2 legs in the front, 1 in the back. And then it is very simple. You see a huge muzzle, and then certain instrument where you do the calculation, do the settings. And there is a cord, you pull the lever, and all you need to do, you don't even have to look at the target. No, you just have a rough look. Once you've done the setting and you just press the button. You feel nothing and very smooth. It goes and hit the target.
Parallelly, like, does the Indian military today also use again, I'm just trying to get a better understanding of the weaponry used. Because as civilians, our only information about weapons comes from video games, pretty much. Like Call of Duty, Counter-Strike, these kind of games. Where, there are bazookas, there are missile launchers, there are flamethrowers. Are these kind of weapons a part of...
All kind of weapons are there. It is only, as per the requirement as per the operational requirement and the role and nature and employment of the forces. Like RR will be heavy oriented toward a particular weapon. For specific reasons, I'm not naming the weapon.
Okay.
SF has got a special requirement. They operate in small teams. Whether it is communication, they need to be in lightweight, long range. And the weapon. When you're going in a fighting in a built-up area, I always prefer to carry a pistol. The houses are there, small rooms, and if you carry a big weapon and you think you will do wonders, the moment you enter, somebody will catch from the muzzle only and take care of you. Smaller weapon, it gives me more swiftness, but then, it is very difficult to take a shot from the pistol from a close distance also. Close quarters.
Why?
Yeah, there's a lot of jerk you get when you fire accuracy is less. It gives you the moment, even if you hold with 2 hands, a lot of practice, it gives you a lot of jerk. Take other weapon, and then like AK-47, it comes with a butt, it comes with a folded butt. You take support on your shoulder. That gives you a lot of stability. Your shoulder is holding it from here. You're holding it from the front. And you take a pen shot. So, apna comfort zone hai. Like in close quarters, I always use pistol. And when you're going to say ops, and it is a little open kind of area, the preference was AK-47, 56. So, every unit has got a weapon profile. There is in organization, it has been clearly stated what all weapons and equipments are authorized to a particular unit. So every unit has got an authorization set, and they use those weapons.
Foreign militaries, the American military or the British military, are the weapons that they use significantly better than the Indian military? Because what I have understood about the Indian military is that we're jugadus even there, and we kind of alter weapons to make them better. That's a very limited understanding, but that's what I have understood. Am I right in saying that the Indian military is a lot about engineering better weapons?
I don't know whether it is the correct answer to your question, but definitely I would like to make one statement. Weapon, equipment, communication profile, whatever it may be. But the biggest brand and the best brand in the entire world is Indian Army. I'm damn clear on this. We are the only force, history has been testimony, our soldiers are the only potent and the capable soldiers who can actually fight a battle and are just surviving on water, jaggery, and muthi bhar chana. No other soldier is capable to do these wonders. Ours can. They've done it number of times.
Endurance,
mental or physical, the emotions they work with. Our soldiers are unparalleled. They are amazing. No requirement, nothing. In the name of the country, people don't even think about their families when it comes to actually duty. I had realized I'd gone through one instance myself. Oh, Parakram, people were berserk. Tomorrow, bloody, we'll do this. Emotions, we are soldiers, I'm telling you. Nobody knows their potential. Galwan, you must have seen a young boy, Khalsa, bloody fell down from this thing, again came back, tied his turban, again taken by a number of people and bloody had their happiness. And when the body was taken, the mother is carrying the body of that soldier. Where do you get mothers like this? Weapon profile, I told you, it keep on changing. Men, it is always the men behind the machine. Our boys are the best. No doubt about it.
I would just like to ask you a little bit about what airborne even means. People don't understand these words, so like it kind of took me some time to even understand exactly what Special Forces and Para SF is. And we had a lot of Para SF personnel on the show. So I'd like you to kind of give us this essay from wherever you wish to start.
Okay. I'll give you only an outline for this because of the specific reasons. Airborne force, as the name suggests, only something which operates in the air, from the air. Okay. Airborne. The working methodology, the reach, the penetration is absolutely unparalleled. In airborne unit, you will find people who are capable. Every single guy is capable to come out of the aircraft at the speed of 600 with complete loaded with the weapon and everything. Others unit might not have that luxury. There might be some people who are qualified to do combat free fall, military free fall, or the static line jumps. But in airborne, every man who is walking on the ground is capable of jumping, irrespective of the terrain. Airborne are those forces, and you must have seen one example. You have seen airborne operations happening in Russia-Ukraine conflict. Thousands of the parachute opening up in the air in one go. Whether thereafter it is your logistics, it is your weapons, it is your equipment, everything is dropped down through air. It requires a lot of tremendous practice. More than anything, you require a lot of zigra and a strong heart to do this thing. You can be told to operate in jungles. It can be urban area. It can be absolutely God forbidden zone, high altitude area, snow covered peaks, anywhere and everywhere you can do. Every man will jump. That is airborne forces. Otherwise, operation aspects you ask, there are a hell lot of things. Again, we'll talk about it.
Yeah. But why is there a specific force for this? And my assumption before this particular episode was that Para SF would take care of all this because they have Para in their name as well. So I didn't know that there was a separate force until we did research on this episode.
See, Para has got a specific role. The weapon profile and equipment profile is different. Special forces again have got a mandated charter of duty and they operate in their own functionality in small teams. They carry out specific operations. And recon surveillance is their forte. When it comes to airborne, this is something generally not to be spoken, least known the better, the kind of a thing. But fair to say that the penetration is absolutely amazing. It is said in our fraternity that we don't exist so that you can. So that is how it is.
Yeah. Okay, fair. Are you comfortable talking a little bit about maybe a very difficult operation you had? Not in detail, but if you could just give us a brief outline, maybe the kind of terrain you've had to encounter.
Yes, I can.
I'm assuming that, say, if you're landing in a thick jungle, it could be dangerous because you don't have a clean landing spot.
Yeah. See, there are two kind of things. Of course, when you do operations, normally what people do, they count on a certain percentage. That is called the casualty rate. When you're jumping from the aircraft, probably so many people will probably not make it.
That's a part.
That's part of the.
That's an understanding that you might die.
See, mathematics has to be pure calculations. If we go for a match of football, the 11th is the strength of the team. You require one reserve for the goalkeeper as well as you require few reserves. As a player in the defense in the forward line. Same way, if you're planning out any operation, be it any unit for that matter, RR, SF, airborne, anything, there has to be a parameter for the selection. There has to be a parameter for working out the strength. So if you're walking, for example, if you're jumping in a jungle, if you're jumping into a high altitude area, what do you think? Every guy is successfully coming to the ground. He might not get a clear landing zone. He might just go and hit himself into the mountain. He's crashed, he's dead. So you work on a certain percentage, and believe me, that percentage is the highest in airborne operations. So if you take some figure and you discount a heavy number of them, they're not going to make it. Lucky are those who even come to the ground. And those set of people, now they have to do the job for the balance of the guys also. It's not that easy. There have been operation. Giving you one, this thing, there was an operation we landed up, and as per the input and everything, it was about 3 hour journey to that location. Believe me, it took 36 hours. 36 hours. Because what you see in the map, but the actual conditions, what you see on the ground, are damn very different. 36 hours. A lot of people, they got exhausted. A couple of them, they got dehydrated. Water was over. There was muddy water. That was the only choice, and it was tasty. And because we were thirsty, we enjoyed it. And there were a lot of anticipation that we'll face leeches and other thing. Salt and everything got washed away in the river in Nala when we crossed. There was not even a place where even one guy could stop. We had to cut it, make the route, and then go there. After 36 hours, we landed up and do the wiping up and cleaning up. But 36 hours is a hell lot of time. And then you need to, 18 hours going one way and then 18 hours coming back. But once you've done the task, then the motivation level is very high. Then the distance, the route, degree of difficulty, is on a very low scale. You're happy you did it.
So the survival aspect was very difficult in this operation.
That instinct for survival itself is a great motivation here, There's more situation like they say in Commandos, mushkil waqt commando sakt. It cannot happen other way around. Mushkil waqt and commando past. It cannot happen that way. And that feeling, that you need to go back home. I always used to tell my people, even if it is an operation, whether it is with the unit or Assam Rifles or the unit I commanded in Special Forces Airborne, 10 men are going, all 10 will come back. That feeling always there. I always used to tell them, 10 are going, all 10 will come back. Even if one guy is not going to make it, believe me, that will be me. But you will come back. I'll ensure this. Thereafter, what I'd seen, they always used to ensure. They used to look after me. Just take care of yourself. Don't take care of yourself. Take care of the guy who's on to your left, your right, and your front and back. You'll be very safe. Eventually, there are 4 guys who were taking care of you from all the corners. There was no issue only.
What is the criteria for selection for airborne?
Again, like I said, first you have to volunteer and then you have to be willing. In any other unit, you can be posted as a commanding officer. I got a letter. I got a call from the MS. They said, "Sir, are you volunteer?" Marga, why are you asking that question even to me? They said, "Sir, because we can't post you there unless you confirm to me. Just hold on." So I immediately replied back to him the SMS, refer our ongoing conversation. I written in capital, bold and underline. I am volunteer and I'm willing. But now, see, you got the message? Like, yes, sir. I'm in. So you need to be voluntary and willing. And then you need to undergo that probation and then you need to do your para course. Once you're done with this, you qualify, then you are there. And at any point in time, somebody says, "No, sir, this I find difficult, I can't do." Please, you're not welcome there. Then you go back.
Are there physical traits that are preferred?
No, there are no physical traits which are endorsed on the paper, but you need to prove everything on the ground. On paper, there might be a 20 odd list. Maybe people are not even having 2 of them. So on paper, we don't believe. Everything is on ground. You prove your worth on ground and you are acceptable.
Correct. Does every jump change you?
Yes, every jump is a new jump. Every combat experience, the contact is a new experience. Even within one jump, I tell you, like for example, when you are in the aircraft, there are 3 examples I can quote. 1, you are standing in the front. This is 1. Second, there is a trail of 41 guys, 42 guys, 21 on each side. Then you are in the center. And then you are in the last of the stack. One column which is sitting on the either side is called as a stack. So the mind, makeup and psyche is different with every position also. What to talk about other jumps? As a commanding officer, if I'm in this front and I'm taking the first jump, that is generally the norm we used to follow. As a battalion commander, you will be the first one to exit the aircraft. The moment you are out of the aircraft, because there are 3 lights, red, blue, red, yellow and green. Same as traffic light. It gives you a signal. And the moment it is green on, go. The moment that light is on, you can't even take a fraction of second to delay it. Why? Because there is an area which is marked on the ground, which is known as dropping zone. Calculating the width factor, the height, the speed of the aircraft going at a 600 kilometers, the weight and other things, the kind of the parachute you are using. The moment you exit, है ना, you are going to come back within that zone. So you will have a relatively better area. If you take even the difference between the jumps, it is even less than 0.7 up now of the second. It is the speed of go, 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 go. That is the speed. People don't even jump out of the bus from that at that speed. So if I'm the first one, and if I take 0.7 extra also, two things are for sure. Firstly, I'll lose that respect. People say, ki, bloody, he got scared. I can't afford that luxury as a battalion commander. You are out means you're out in that moment. Second, I know it is going to cost somebody life, those 0.7 seconds. If I delayed it, he probably is going out of that DZ. That is one. But, that freedom is there. No one is in front of me. I can take a command and you're out. But when somebody is in the center, now that time when you see people are going and एक आगे वाला थोड़ा सा आगे पीछे कहीं हो जाता है, your entire biorhythm get disrupted.
That's happened?
No, not with me. I always used to be the first one to jump. I love that thing. Now there is a guy who is in the last. Imagine there are 20 guys and they had already jumped out of the aircraft and you see he has got some distance to cover. Now he's running inside the aircraft and there he goes out. His psyche is different. Every jump is a different. Once it had so happened, people had jumped. We had done with our jump. We were down. Last 3 guys in order of stick and it was a night jump. And one possibility which has never been discussed, it never happened in the history, it is highly not anticipated, and it happened. The cord on which, it was a static jump, on which cord was there and it went off.
What?
See, in aircraft, where you're sitting, when you're jumping with a static jump is something when you have got a parachute, there is a cord attached to a parachute. And the hook is on a cable, which is in the aircraft. So that cable got broken because when you jump, there's a particular distance it goes and then the cord is taken out of the aircraft. So from the parachute, it gets deployed. But in this case, just cord mein wo lagta hai, that cord itself got broken. Now, because of this, what had happened, the 3 guys, they just slipped silently out of the aircraft. And they were under this false sense of this thing. Now the cord will get unbroken and my parachute will get deployed. It never happened.
It didn't open.
It didn't open at all. It was just 10 seconds at the max, 11 seconds, not even 10 seconds. They just touched the ground. Coming from thousands of feet, it was around 1450 was the feet height. They touched the ground and when we went to see them, they were exactly in the same training which had been taught to them. They had made a position, their legs were folded in a particular fashion. That is called para position. They were in that position. They had followed the teaching to the last breath. They were in that position and parachute was not there.
All 3 of them?
All 3 passed away. The fear factor sets in. But see, this is all about the mindset. This is how special forces, airborne units, they work. One way to look at this thing, okay, and you give the condolences, feel bad about it and just let it go. Second thing was every boot which was there on the ground, what made to fall in there, they were given new fresh parachute, aircrafts were deployed, they were told to board the aircraft, you went in the air and jumped at the same night. So
What?
that same night, before the bodies were moved from there, everybody fucker will jump out of the aircraft. And rightly so. Why? Because once you don't do this thing, the fear factor, it becomes a gossip. Something went wrong, it can happen. No. Once you're done with this ritual, then people are this thing, things happens. It happens. It is a part and parcel of this job and these are professional agents. This is not the first time it has happened, neither it is going to be last time. Nobody can guarantee. Such things will keep happening, but you can't let it go. That fear factor should not come. It had happened, we just did it again. Nothing happened. So don't worry, chill.
This was a night jump?
It was a night jump.
How are night jumps more challenging? You can't see
No,
exactly.
It's not challenging. In fact, I found it more exotic.
Why?
You see lights and it's something like looking out of the aircraft. Daytime, probably you don't. It's a beautiful view. Lot of clarity, pin drop silence. You see very clearly. And when you are getting an aerial view, and you think from there, a lot of light and everything. I found it very beautiful. I don't know about others' experience, but night jump, I really loved it. That feeling is always there, that fear of unknown, where you're going, you don't know exactly what is down and this thing. Reaction time is, so that is again a test of your reflexes, your stimulus, and how much strong you are mentally, physically, whatever.
You've never had any wild animal encounters ever, like in your entire tenure?
Nothing, they are very friendly. This is how I look at them, whether it is snakes or something. Been in close this thing with cheetah, another thing, but they're friendly.
Like an Asiatic cheetah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Snakes also, number of times. But personally, my experience tells me they are very friendly. Until unless you actually don't poke them and cause harm to them, they are not going to cause any damage to you. So while they are around, it's okay, good. They generally avoid the distance.
What about the cheetah you saw?
Cheetah, in the sense, matlab, like, again, I can't reveal the name of the location, but yes, when we were going out for something, it has been a tremendous experience. And he's just walking 50 meters behind the troops. And we were moving somewhere, and he's just following 50 meters. He followed us for about a kilometer or so, and thereafter we had just eye contact, and he quietly slipped into the wild. Wildlife never causes damage. In fact, we as a human, I think we cause more damage to their, habitat or anything. Snakes, again, very friendly, but sometimes it has been operational requirement or something as a part of the training. And you even catch them, you eat them. That is a professional requirement. Otherwise, I think fair this thing. We can stay together.
You've had to hunt on operations.
Anything that walks, crawl, creep, fly can be eaten and had been eaten.
Okay.
Only if required.
Have you eaten a snake?
Yes, raw also.
What?
And yeah.
Okay.
Why? Raw also and cooked also. I tasted croc also, crocodile.
Which you had hunted?
No, not hunted. Not hunted. Crocodile. Caught. And now today it is in my school. That job was done during the school days only.
Let's talk about snake first, sir. Why
Snake,
did you have to eat it raw firstly?
See, if you're not used to it, that is part of the commando training as well. Every person, officer who had been part of the commando course, who had done commando course, they're told. People are there, they come up with very funny ideas. Sir, I'm a Brahmin, I don't eat in my house, this thing. You get one punch in your belly, you open your mouth, and then no question asked, and you're supposed to eat it. Otherwise, you'll get the second piece as well. See, there are chances, and life can give you surprises. It can actually throw big surprises at you. We have got nothing to eat. Nothing means absolutely nothing. There are ways and means, and you get muddy water, shitty water, and you need to drink that as well.
Like water that someone has shat in.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't have anything, there are ways. You put mud, then you put sand, not mud. Then you put some stone, then charcoals and all that. There is a way to make an organic filter out of that, and you still get some good quality. Unless you don't survive and you can't stand on your feet, what are you going to do? So at least whether you get a chance or situation like this, that is a different issue altogether. But at least you should be trained to well. You should know that I can't have this luxury to say this is good or bad, it smells good or it smells bad. No. It is not a matter of choices, it is a matter of survival. If that instinct is not so very strong, you've not been trained in that manner, how are you going to handle it when it actually comes on ground?
What did the snake taste like?
It is tasteless actually. If you put some masala or something different, but again I said it's not a matter of luxury. And you don't have anything. And it is raw means something should go inside. What we see in these shows, Chris Gale and all that, maybe I don't know how realistic it is, or people do the stage management and all. But it is not. You go to Northeast, that itself is a training. You go to, there is a insect market in Nagaland, Kohima you go. From ant to snake to what reptile you want, you will get it there.
Have you had insects?
Yeah, a lot, many times.
What?
In fact, there was in Commandos also, in the unit also, and also in a orientation training in Assam Rifle. I used to conduct a camp in which the last 1 week was absolutely survival. No shelters, nothing. Everything what you want to make for yourself. So people used to rope, cut down trees and everything from habitat to anything. They used to, in fact, they used to kill the birds, animals, everything. And they were beautiful using, leaves, thrones. They used to make bowl kind of thing. And they used to make exotic things, different squirrels, and snails. Snail was again the kind of the creepy feeling you get, but then you have to eat it. Whatever is available in a particular area as your food. So usme wo sari cheezein hoti thi, and people used to have it, and I used to have a food tasting around.
What does snails taste like?
Again, it is very tasteless. But again, until there is a requirement, believe me, you can avoid it. There are a few things, it's not a matter of choice, but just you need to do it sometime.
What's the worst thing you've eaten? Like where you're like, I don't want to eat that.
Worst thing I would say is snails only.
Yeah.
I've seen thousands of them went for some operation in a room. That feeling was creepy. Yeah.
Thousands of snails.
Thousands, and everywhere you see it. I've never seen that kind of thing. Tab mein se, it's coming out. I've seen only in movies happening this thing. That was not a good thing.
This was out of pure hunger you had to eat.
Pure hunger only, because you had nothing, not even fish was available there. So I've seen people, local people, it is a delicacy for them. But it was not a personal choice. And I saw them, they used to just suck it and thing.
Like raw.
Raw, absolutely, in boiled water, and they used to suck it. And I think today also, if you go to Northeast, you will see people sitting with the pots and they do it. But maybe it is their food preference, it is luxury for them, but it was not for us. There's something new for me. Did it once, not a good idea. Never try it. I'm telling you, there are better things.
Can you compare it to something you've eaten otherwise? Like
No comparison. It is tasteless, but something need to go inside. That's it.
okay, wow. And the crocodiles?
Crocodile is good because it has got no bones. It has got only scales. I was on United Nation trips, and I had gone to initially Uganda, then Kenya.
For work? For operations?
No, not for the operations. It was lucky there was operational challenges. I had faced the most difficult situation there in UN only.
Like combat situation?
Yeah, combat situation could be resolved without firing a single bullet, but it was actually a worst situation, I would say. So, वहाँ पे I had gone for a rest and recoup trip. I had visited Kenya. So I had gone to this reserve forest. वहाँ पे I tried all those things. It was amazing.
It tastes like chicken. That's what I've been told.
I think better than chicken. Croc, giraffe, and you name a animal. I tried everything there because they offer as a part of their exotic menu. So everything was available. Why not? I had come this far. I could try karna chahiye.
I'm assuming it just tastes like versions of chicken or mutton.
No, it is better than that. Ostrich meatballs also I tried. That was also good. I tried almost everything. In Africa, when you are there, why not?
Are you comfortable talking about Africa a little bit?
Yeah.
Why were you sent there?
See, a unit was deployed there as a part of the reserve force. We had gone as a United Nations peacekeeping force. I was part of that complement. So there was a place, Abay. If you look on the internet, it'll tell you what Abay is about.
Which country?
Sudan. Now it is North Sudan and South Sudan. Abay is a location. It was absolute. I've seen people mad for no reason. They had nothing to eat, but they had sophisticated weapon with them. Those days also. And I've seen people finishing people for no reason. Life had absolutely no value. And it was one of the worst places to stay in, anywhere in the world. 100 or 1,000 kilometers you will travel, you will not get even one glass of water. Oil you want? Yes, you will get. Not even a glass of water. I've seen early morning people taking out blood from the cow and in a bowl and they're serving to every family member so that they can just take care of their thirst. It was again requirement. It was necessity for survival.
The terrains like the Sahara Desert.
Absolute barren. Although there were some hills around, but there was absolutely barren. No productivity, zero. No crop shop, no business, nothing. Absolutely surviving on whatever little. And those days it was being provided by United Nations. But bad state. Nothing to eat, nothing to drink. Water was costlier and oil was cheaper.
Wow.
That is what I've seen there. For one bread, people could get killed or they could have killed someone. It was as simple as that. I've seen people. I've been to garbage disposal area where I've seen people eating boot polish. I've seen people eating Odomos, medicines, irrespective. Something should go inside. And it was actually nothing less than a shit. And people just taking out something. I've seen they are having a cut because of the, broken glasses, something coming to this thing. I'm trying to tell them something, but I don't know the language. And they are trying to keep it to themselves. Probably this man is going to take this also from us. That is the kind of hunger I've seen. But thereafter, I learned water. We say save water campaign and all that. Those who really don't understand, send them to that place only for 1 week. They will get to know what is the importance of water and what is the importance of food.
What was the political situation there that caused this kind of a scenario?
Yeah, again, when there is a political instability, there was no political situation only, When everything is in the hung state, whether it is the government or it is the political party, everything.
Or militant groups against each other.
So many of them, and they've got weapon. I am surprised when you don't have a water to drink and how they manage weapon. There was one situation where two military contingent, there was some meeting that has to be organized with the SRSG, that is the senior most hierarchical appointment in the UN in a particular area. The military group, they had to have some conversation with them to resolve some issue. So one contingent was sent and the pilot, 2 of the officers and 30 of the men, they were kept into custody and they were taken as a hostage. They never came back. Then one more was sent. And then we were the reserve battalion. We were told that we need to talk to them. I still have, I believe, a couple of photographs from that day. So I, along with 10 or 12 boys of best of mine, who were apna part of my Cambrian Patrol. Cambrian Patrol is one of the, it is the toughest competition in Indian Army.
What's it called?
Cambrian Patrol competition. The best team of the Indian Army who wins it, they are sent to London, Wales. So, and they are placed and they participate in competition against special forces from other unit. So I prepared and created a team and we won it. So it was those boys, and my trained boys, my team, they knew everything and what best can do. And like a Rambo again, I thought, कि मैं एक ये weapon low and take these weapons, and once we go, immediately we get out the aircraft, we do this thing. It never happened on ground. We landed up there, and what I see, there were two, if I remember correctly, there were two attack haptors there. First time I also saw that live. And there were a lot of people in the weapon with absolutely no mentality, huge and tall, everyone 6+, with a weapon and the sleeper hanging on the AK-47, firing in the air, hundreds and thousands of them. I told my boys, man, see nothing going. With this kind of, scenario and numbers, believe me, it is not going to work out. And there was one rep from the UN also, one foreigner from US who was there. He said, Major, we cannot do this. But we have been sent for some task, we have to do it, buddy. He said, no, we'll not go outside. Of course, we are going outside. So I told my boys, you keep your weapon to one side. Okay? And everyone wear your UN cap and put that card on your chest and just sit quietly inside. So I said, let's move outside. No, we should not go. There is no other option. They are firing the weapon. Let's go outside. So I encouraged him and he said, just stay with me at least. I was also actually under tremendous pressure, seeing their madness. There has to be some logic in madness also. I saw there was no logic. It was pure madness that day I saw. And the moment I got down, the guy who was sitting with the huge machine gun and they were firing in the air, and he was very angry. He said, why you have come here? Why you have come here? And with big heart, although I'll not say I was scared, but there was a lot of tension in my head. So I brought a big smile on my face, and the traditional way of, you put a hand on somebody's chest and you say, Kulu tamam. And I said, my buddy, Kulu tamam nahi, it is going to be calm tamam today. And I said, Kulu tamam. I put my hand on his chest with a broad smile. I said, Kulu tamam, how are you? My compliments to you. So he was confused what this guy is doing. Where is your leader? Why you want to meet our leader? See, as a military commander, I'll speak only to him. You just put me through to your guy, He was confused. He said, he's there. Let's go and talk. I just pretended confident, although I was not at that moment. Let's be very fair. So then he took me to his leader. Now this guy, what I saw, he was wearing a white chevron and a huge tall guy, 6'4" maybe. And there were hundreds and thousands of people along with him sitting in a mad posture on the drum, this thing, hanging weapon in every possible thing. So I went to him and I said, Kulu tamam. I said, I want to convey greetings and salutation on behalf of my men and on behalf of my team. I've come to meet you. The only solace was bloody this guy. I never been so grateful for this language, English. He knew English, yeah. Otherwise, there was no scope only to connect that dot, that chord. Fortunately, he knew the English. He said, yes. I said, you have got brave people. But, I am here with a purpose. Then I explained to him why I'm here, to organize that meeting with our SRSG and between him. So he said, he can come. I had a look around. I said, believe me, this is not the environment anybody will feel comfortable to walk in. There's a purpose. Let's create that environment. I got two things I can suggest you, sir. He says, what? Sir, you've got so many people with you. Believe me, not required. And you just keep only a handful of people, maybe 10, 20, 30, whatever you want to keep with you. And they are fair enough. Rest, otherwise, I'm here with a purpose. I've got 10 guys with me. We have got weapons with us. I am here to ensure your security as well. You are the king of the soil, your land, your rules. Let's go by that.
Who was this guy? But
he was the head of that, militia organization, what they are.
Okay, like the militant leader.
Yeah, I will not exactly say militant, but yes. So he understood the point. So I requested me if you can convey this in your local lingo to this guy, so that, they are dispersed off. So he understood, said something in African. And people, trucks by trucks and trucks, they started moving. They were truck fully loaded with legs outside, firing and going and shouting something. But a lot of trucks, they passed away. And then finally, a couple of people were there. Now we need to have some sitting place. So there was some room which was identified and it was cleared. and then probably created that mess into something, into amicable environment where actually one can sit and talk. They bought carrots of soft drinks and everything. But now, yes, now we are getting into that mode.
But
Initially, I had to.
food and all, like, though there's food scarcity, these guys had like luxuries with
When
them.
you can have weapon and you can have anything, so it might be scarcity for the common man, not for these guys. So now this guy had finally, initially was not receptive. I said, see, I'm a soldier, we have been trained in a specific manner. While you have got a lot of numbers, but believe me, we have been trained. If nothing happens, something fishy is tried. We are also good and highly trained people. At least we'll take, every guy is going to take a couple of numbers. So why to land up in that situation? It's a genuine request. Let's create that environment. Finally, things were fizzled out. There was a meeting which also took place and things were resolved.
What is the energy in meetings like this, where it's like two dangerous men talking to each other, honestly? Where death is definitely a theme in those conversations.
As I told you, if you've been trained well and you are trained yourself well, if you can maintain your nerves in such situation, that is what matters. If you panic, you'll never take a good decision.
This guy who you met, is it fair to say he was some sort of an African warlord of sorts?
It was much more than warlord. He was definitely a lord. In those circumstances, he was the only lord, I'm telling you.
Because that country was going through so much.
Yes, so much. And then you're a powerful man. And so many people, you've got such a mad following. People can easily get killed and kill anyone for you. Life was meaningless. I've seen people chopping off people's head and playing with an leg, making football out of people's head. You search on the internet also, you'll find a lot of people keeping head on their, weapons and playing football with that.
This was in Sudan?
In Sudan, you search places like Darfur, Abyei and all that. A madhouse. Although Darfur was out of our area of responsibility, but there have been mad places, It's real bad.
Why that level of barbarianism? Like, why that much?
Firstly, there is no political stability. There is nothing in a structured manner. You have got weapons, but no food. And necessity is, again, you can go to an extent. I said, for one glass of water, you can go to an extent. So power corrupts, and last line is absolute power corrupts absolutely.
And no police. You can do whatever you want.
Nothing. They are the police. They are the rule. They are the government. They are the hierarchy. They are the military. They are everything. I've seen a situation. First, I saw some movie. I think Rwanda. Hotel Rwanda is the movie, if I remember correctly. That is a movie, and one more movie where I've seen UN troops what kind of pressure and situation they've handled. And the night, somebody is driving, and all of a sudden he had a bumpy ride. One realizes, and then later on he realizes it's not some speed breaker. It has a dead body over which he is plying the vehicle. There was one situation while in Abyei I've seen people started firing berserk in market area. And there was a pregnant lady, and somebody reported that something like this has happened. So we took one small mechanized tank with us. We went outside, got that lady, retreat from there. People are firing overhead. Nonsense. Absolute utter nonsense. I don't know what pleasure they get, but life was meaningless. I realized a lot of things. We got that lady, and then there was a situation when I saw a lot of people, they were running around in the fields and leaving their every stuff. Kids were running behind them. And then I saw another vehicle coming up. They are hanging children upside down, speaking something in the local language. I didn't know what they were speaking, but what I could matter was probably they are giving warning, either you come outside or we'll take care of these kids. So crying, people with folded hand, they're coming, leave them. And people are having fancy ideas. Something like this has happened. So I went to the gate. There was a situation where one guy with one leg amputated, he came to the gate. And people said, gate not to be open, this is the order. This is what exactly I saw in the movie as well. And every organization has its own rule. So I said, bloody hell with the orders here. And I've been here with a purpose, but not here just only to close the door. This is the time when the door said to be open. We'll see to this and what happens. Later on, we open the door. I opened the door, people came and I said, nobody is going inside. You just keep shoving left and right of the gate. And then we closed the door. Then again, I saw after some time, people came with very huge loaded machine gun with chains and everything. And they're shouting, you open the gate and get them outside. The gate is not going to be open. He said, open the gate. But no, negative, no gate will be open. We'll see to this. I'm also here, sitting here only to see you guys. You try some stunt and then you see the music. It was again very pressure point. Order says do this and I'm doing something against opposite. Although nothing happened. It is me only had to report, but sometimes there are tough calls. It can't happen. You see a small kid, a very old lady, and a man with no leg. He's looking for some shelter, and you tell him, "Ki you bloody fuck off and run from here." Then what kind of soldier you are? Okay, it's okay. It is better to take a punishment, but do something and cross that line and do something what your mind and your heart tells you. So that was one experience here. And poverty, dearth of resources. It actually itself teaches you a lot of things.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. Like, I mean, I've gotten to know a fair share of all your experiences. This one seems like the most gory and most gruesome, probably.
It was actually bad. Believe me, people were paying in dollars and people were very happy that we are being paid in dollars. I reached a stage where I've taken people, I've seen people drinking in a shitty water, actually shit only, I'm telling you, and eating things in a which actually will definitely guaranteed fall sick. I've seen people killing each other for a bread packet. The orders were once you move outside, you will not give a bottle of water to anyone. You will not give food to anyone. Imagine. Orders. Okay? And I still defied the orders. I always used to carry my own share. I can still have once I go back. So whenever I used to see someone, I used to take any needy something and used to quietly give a bottle or, to them. For my own satisfaction, no other reason. But I reached a mental state where I thought, dollars is not important. I don't want any money. All I need to is just go back home. Operations were never demanding, but when you see people suffering, there is a difference between difficult situations, challenges and suffering. What I had seen in operations was a challenge. And challenges are always welcome. It gives you goosebumps. I loved it. But when you see sufferings for no reasons and no fault of theirs, that's painful. Small kids eating boot polish, imagine how you would feel about it. You are having the best of the food inside the wall, and people are outside and they're looking, even if you throw shit and will eat it. Suffering and challenges are different things. That was not a challenge, that was suffering.
Are you comfortable sharing which year this was in roughly? 2008?
This was absolutely 2007-8. That was the year.
To think of 2008 in the rest of the world, Facebook is coming up.
Yeah.
America is growing. Yeah. Obama is getting elected. There's excesses, there's McDonald's all over the world, and then there's a part of the world just like this.
That is what I'm telling you. Ranveer, there is a lot of difference between real life and real life. Real life and real life are very different things. There was an adventure camp. Can I speak something?
Please, sir.
Yeah. There was an adventure camp where 11th, 12th and big boys, they were coming in army. It was being conducted in Manali. And people expected that since 11th, 12th lot, quite notorious, so you go. I was second in command that time. I had gone there. There was some senior officer's daughter, some general visiting. She said, we want to have Maggie and, Golgappa and all that. I said, my food is already ready, sir, and it'll go waste. And there were a lot of people, they need to do for this. Anyway, it was done. Although not easy to manage for those many Maggies and those fancy items. It was prepared. And next day, I got everyone in the single podium auditorium and I started playing some pictures. I want to show you something. And then I'd shown them pictures where people were drinking cattle urine, yeah. And with small pipes, they were trying to collect one drop of the blood, water.
This is from Sudan?
From Sudan. And there was a point in stage and with some music and some message I had written it, I was showing to those children. They started singing and a few of the girls, they started crying. They said, sir, please stop it. Why should I stop it? You're not ashamed of doing something very funny. I'm showing you the reality. Go through it and look up. I'd shown it to them. A lot of children, they had water in their eyes. Few of them, they cried also. They said, do you know what is this? Then I told them, this is Sudan. They are real photographs, not real photographs. And thereafter, I had shown them other photographs. But this was the food which was prepared yesterday night, which has gone wasted. Because we are sitting at a location there is no one to consume. Food worth so much gone wasted. But then I called that guy who had prepared the food. Please, you tell them what time you wake up in the morning. He said, sir, for 100,000 children, I barely sleep for about 2 hours. I get up at early 3 in the morning so that I can prepare their breakfast. You know any one of you knows his name? You don't even know bloody his name. Okay? You're least interested. As far as you're getting warm food, fancy food, you're okay with it. Where was the requirement? Yesterday, nobody would have died if you were not having Maggie. But you wanted and you had at the cost of wastage of so much of food. And there are people who are actually drinking cattle urine because there is no water. You want to try? Of course you can't because there are better options available with you. But the lesson was driven home. The idea was well received by the kids in the environment. A lot of they got emotional, and a few boys and girls, they came, said, can I hug you? Of course, more the merrier, please.
Can I hug you?
Please, arey. As such, with this Amazon, we hitting in my
Yeah, in the middle of one of our takes, we lit a candle. This turned into a military date of sorts.
Military date, yeah.
But go on.
So, usme na yaar, idea was well received by the kids. And thereafter, it was they started saying thanks to that guy. Got to know more about the guy who used to prepare food with them. They were thankful, and they never wasted food. Today also, when I'm training my kids, I ensure I have meal with them. Not even single piece of food is left in the plate. I ensure this, and they don't leave ever.
I've had a lot of military podcasts.
Hanji.
And I've had a lot of podcasts in general.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite podcasts are the military podcasts because there's real experiences just like this. You've had one of like the wildest life experiences, at least that I've encountered on the show. As we were talking, I was like noticing, your emotional state as well. And I noticed that there is a lot of memories that are still alive. Maybe some of which are not voluntarily there inside your mind, in terms of maybe it's things you're trying to get out, but they're just not going out. I don't know. It's just what I sensed. I do feel like there are memories very much alive in you.
Firstly, anything which is not positive, ऐसा कुछ रहा ही नहीं life में. There is nothing which I carry in mind. This is one good thing I consider about myself. I take things as they come.
Okay.
Everything is momentary. Some action happened, it was there only, I left it. I kept only the good things and the lesson which I can pass on to someone.
Colonel Rajeev, this is never going to get over this podcast if we keep talking. We actually have to move into a Hindi conversation as well. I feel you've got that width of experiences and know-how when it comes to the military life. As with every military episode, firstly, I salute you, sir. Thank you for the service.
Also.
Thank you for your service to the nation.
Thank you so much.
On behalf of the youth, trust me, people have just begun to understand more about the military and the contributions of people like yourself. So please be on more podcasts online. So I feel like these stories and experiences need to be out there. That's one request. Secondly, this is so heavy an episode for me. It's going to take me time to just absorb all of it. And I'm saying this to you because I really appreciate that.
Thank you so very much. But Ranveer, through you and your team, one last statement I would like to say.
Sure.
There are thousands of aspirants, defense aspirants, every year who want to join forces. But because they could not clear through some stage or the medical issue or something, they have not been able to make it. And they lose their heart. The only one message for them is, it's not about uniform. I can understand that craze. I also was youngster sometime. I am still young, But, it's not about uniform. It is that attitude that you carry. You don't require a uniform to actually do good something for your nation. As a citizen, as a student, in whatever capacity, wherever you are, I always feel a soldier is by heart, not by uniform. I have seen many of them in uniform, not worth being this old. At least few of them. And I've seen many of them who had never donned a uniform, but they are amazing. They carry that attitude. So it is all by heart. Don't lose heart and be a soldier. It's all by the heart, not by uniform.
So
that's
100%. More on a Hindi episode. That's what I will say.
Anytime, sir.
Thank you for doing this particular episode.
Thanks to you.
Seriously,
Thank you, brother.
This was something else. This has been one of my most memorable shoot days, and I mean that.
Thanks.
I
enjoyed. I enjoyed with you. I felt absolutely at home here.
Yeah.
Whatever came to my mind, and I felt from here, and I just said it.
Thank you, sir. Lots more episodes in you that we need to extract.
Anytime, at your disposal.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, dear. God bless.
That was the episode for today. Now you understand what I was saying in the intro. Try understanding what it's like for me to create these kind of podcasts. There is definitely some sort of an exchange of energy, and I'm not someone who's gone through military school or special forces courses. So I'm not mentally ready to face the realities that these human beings bring on these episodes. But what I do love is the expansion of consciousness I feel after every single military podcast. Internally, the BeerBiceps team has decided to do one military podcast in Hindi and one in English every single month. So you have a lot more pieces like this coming up. Just keep following TRS. We've switched up our strategy in terms of guest selection, and military stories are right up there. We recorded an incredible Hindi piece with Colonel Rajeev Bharwan as well. And I definitely recommend you check out our Hindi podcast as well if you haven't already checked it out. We have highlights channels, that's TRS Clips and TRS Clips Hindi, that are set up on YouTube. You can just get highlights of all the episodes. They're arranged very neatly for you to consume. I hope you're enjoying every bit of TRS and TRS Hindi. Make sure you follow us on Spotify. Every episode's available on Spotify 48 hours before it's available anywhere else in the world. Yep, it's as heavy for me as the heaviness that you're feeling after one of these episodes. But I guess that's what the joy of podcasting is. Great podcasts change you. And at BeerBiceps, we promise to bring you only the greatest podcasts that have ever come out of this country. Jai Hind.